Now let's go through the list of finalists for the podcast influencer category. Sarah Gerardo with The Trade Market, Brad Wetzel, Kevin Compass with Advanced Refrigeration Podcast, Jennifer Manzo with HVAC Chicks, Misfits of HVAC, Craig Malacho with acservicetech.com, Trevor Matthews with Refrigeration Mentor, Brian Orr with HVAC School, HVAC Know-It-All Podcast, Lennox On Air Podcast, and Clifton Beck. Now our esteemed honorable mention this year is Jennifer Manzo with HVAC Chicks. Congratulations. And then, of course, our finalists in this is the Lennox On Air Podcast. Co-hosts Joe Jones and Dave Chapman, they're joining me right now, so thanks for joining me, guys.
You guys are doing phenomenal work, and I words can't describe how honored I am on behalf of our team and on behalf of all of our guests that we were selected for this. I think it's tremendous because it's coming from your organization, and your organization is so well established in the industry. And so thank you for what you do, Austin, and for your team.
Well said. Thank you, Austin.
I appreciate the kind words, and being that we're in the similar industries, we could just maybe talk about your creative process. You have a pretty unique formula, and I think it serves you well. So maybe we could just delve into that for this video.
Came up with what we call storyboard. And with storyboard, you kind of think about how it sounds like. With a story, you've got different components. You have a plot, you have a protagonist, you have an antagonist, and then you have this thing called a guide. And so the way we wanted to structure the podcast, this is how the majority of them are, is we'll identify the plot. This is either a challenge that you might be facing in the HVAC industry, or it could be an opportunity, like IAQ or something, like an opportunity you're not hitting. You haven't explored yet, or a challenge you're facing, a new refrigerant change, for example. And so we'll position it as this is a challenge. And then the protagonist is the listener. And Dave will actually, when we're interviewing a guest, he'll actually take an empty chair and say, pretend there's a person sitting there, and that person works in the heating and air. That's our avatar. And then the guest is really the star of the show. Like, the guest is the star. And we'll bring in a guest in, and we'll try to find that guest blue flame. Like, what are they passionate about? And they are the guide. They are the guide that is going to help the protagonist understand the challenge, understand the pitfalls, and give them direction. And then at the end, they can choose. Do you want to chase this opportunity or not? Is it a happy ending, or is it a sad ending? And so, we don't come out and say that in the podcast, but that's how we structure it. And Dave, what would you add to that?
I look at it as, I came from the field, so did Joe, but I came from the field at a very, I was a professional fisherman. For me, getting into the service van the first day, the guy's like, where's your tools? And I didn't have any tools. If he wanted me to take him fishing, I'd show him how to fish. So I had to learn a lot. And to me, it was like an open book, an open storybook. And people looked at me as a fisherman trying to become a mechanic and said, this guy doesn't know anything, and I feel for the people coming into our industry. So as Joe and I were putting this together, I'm like, we have to speak to, from the installer all the way to the top entrepreneur out there building a biggest business. And how do we do that? And we hit the signal there in a couple of times, Austin, maybe not all the time, but a few times. We've had technicians come up to Joe and I and say, we play the podcast while doing installs in the homeowner's house, and they'll play it. And I'm like, well, you don't have many episodes. Well, we just start the beginning and go right through them. I think that's fascinating. And that was our goal. Our goal is to talk about the great things in our industry instead of people talking about all the bad things in our industry, which seems to be the topic of the last couple of years. And it's frustrating, because why would you join an industry that's so bad? Or why would you join an industry that's stealing from homeowners? Our dealers don't do that. You might have one bad off person out there in any industry that is bad, but our dealers are phenomenal. They're good people. They're caring. They're giving back, and we needed to share that inspiration, that vision, so people can copy that and grow with that. And hopefully, our hope is that people will come to this industry before they go to carpentry or electrical or anything else there, because we need more people in our trade, and we want to be the best. We want to be the trade that leads all the trades.
This has been really interesting for me, and I appreciate you sharing your insights. Clearly, the award is well earned, and I appreciate you spending some time with us.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I just want to conclude very briefly here just by noting what some of the nominators said about the show. Bob Goers in Minnesota, it brings unique industry perspectives about the whole HVAC industry. And Lindsay Moore in Iowa, she said, definitely something for everyone.